What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Fiction Tea Reviews. So today we're going to talk about the Brazilian Netflix show 3% season 4. Just let you know, if you haven't seen season 4, if you haven't watched it, I will be spoiling it. Just to let you know, if you still want to watch it, you should stay. If you don't, come back later. So my initial thoughts when I first started watching this. I was so excited to see this. I couldn't wait till it came out. I was like anticipating this. I'm like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? Is there gonna be a new season? When is it coming out? And then when I saw the preview that this was coming out, I was like, yes! I love that intro scene had like a glimpse of like all the characters. You could see the whole gang. Well, not the whole gang, because some of them were still at the show, but that glimpse, that intro, how the camera just pandered against all of the characters. You had Joanna, Rafael, Natalia, Elisa, and Marco. And I loved how as soon as they walked into the offshore, their flashbacks and their experiences from the offshore kind of all just trickled inside of their minds. That whole intro scene was like, it was like entering into a video game. I liked the landscape. I liked the way the imagery looked. I liked the music. It was just all really good to look at. This whole season intro of episode 1. We are back with the gang. They are entering the offshore and they are ready to take it down because they have a mission. So Michele and Javier stay at the show and Gloria, and they do what they have to do. But the rest of them, they're at the offshore and they're about to get it done. They're about to complete this mission. And then Joanna says, do not get glamorized. Do not get distracted, basically, by anything. Do not get pulled in by this stuff. I did enjoy this season overall. There were some really shocking deaths. There were some surprises. There was inevitable deaths. There were flashbacks. There were many like family bonds that were created and honed in this. I will say that from season 1 to 2 to 3 till now, season 4, you definitely can see the growth in all of the characters. Like, you can see the growth in all of the main characters and the antagonists, as well as the relationships shared between the character. I mean, think about Joanna and Rafael. They did not get along. Think about them from season 1. Think about their relationship and how they really kind of despised each other. They hated each other. And then towards the end, they were teammates. They were friends. I was like, yeah, it's the end of the world, so, might as well. They became a family in the end. They worked together and they looked out for each other and they were all loyal to each other and they were about it. There was also a moment that happened in between, I think it was like episode 3 or episode 4. I don't remember. But there was a moment that they shared, either episode 3 or 4, with the main characters, and I literally started to tear up a little bit. I was just like, oh my god, you guys, like this is a beautiful moment right here. Of course, best parts were like when they were all smiling and they were full of joy and they were happy when they got busted for allowing the submarine to make it to the offshore. The looks on their faces was great. They didn't care if they were about to die. They didn't care what was going to happen. They did it. They had completed the mission. And they were just laughing. They were happy. They were just like, well, we're going to die. At least we do what we have to do. And I was like, yes, y'all. Also, can we talk about how dedicated Joanna and Rafael was? First off, Rafael was dedicated since day 1. He was like paranoid, which was really funny, but he was like super paranoid. He was like, they watching us. They got stuff watching us. Like, they could be listening to our conversation. Come on, y'all, let's go to this place because they're probably listening to our conversation. Even though Joanna was a bit hypnotized and didn't spill everything at first, she was ready to be shot just to complete the mission. She was like, when the lady came up, when the offshore people came, she was just like, to Natalia, do it. And she stood in front of her like, if they're gonna shoot me, at least hurry up and do it. So they were all dedicated. Even when she was hypnotized, like, she told the lady, like, well, if you're not getting rid of the offshore, then I don't want in. And she was like, oh, see, I see I don't really want to get rid of the offshore. Like, that's Joanna. This is why Joanna and Rafael are like my favorite characters, because they're about that life. Seriously. But I think the most surprising character in his growth and his development had to be Javier. I mean, it was also very surprising to see how Javier was the one that pretty much saved them when we all thought they were gonna die on the offshore. We all thought they were dead, and he had a whole trick plan. Javier was one of the characters who really overcame his family curse, overcame this image of his family all being losers and nobody ever winning or never completing, never winning at the offshore or anything. He beat that whole thing. He beat that stereotype that was on his family. He beat all the odds, and he basically saved the day. One of the redeeming characters had to be Michele, because if we think about everything that Michele's done since season 1, she's not one of my favorite characters. And she's done a lot of stuff that I don't agree with or I didn't like. But she is one of the most redeeming characters in this season because she was willing to, and she basically sacrificed her life for their mission, for their cause and their way, for their mission, for what they came there to do, for what was right, even if it meant she had to go against her own blood brother, who, we think about season 1, she was trying to help and she was trying to go get, and that's why she went to the offshore in the first place. But it really showed, like, she really grew a lot as a character too. And even though her death was kind of messed up, I feel like there was some ease and peace met with her character's death. Let's talk about her brother Andre. I mean, Andre was one of the most pathetic, delusional, self-absorbed, I'm the chosen one, I'm the superior one, in his own head, saddest characters of them all this season. I also found it kind of funny that he's all those things, and he himself couldn't be the one to get shot or killed by anyone. He had to be the one to shoot and kill himself, which makes so much sense being the type of person he is. Like, he's so great that only he can kill himself, which I thought was kind of ironic in a way. But all in all, it was kind of sad. It was sad and pity. The whole time you were superior, you were the chosen one, but inside he was just this boy. He really was just this sad boy. He pretended that everything was alright and everything was together, but it wasn't. Also, another character, Natalia, who is the girl that's from the cause, and she's with Joanna. We really got to see her character shine and get to know her character more, and let her character stand on her own a little bit more in this season than they did in the past season. And we learned that how very supportive she was and very honest she was with Joanna and the others. Another character who you could see the growth was Marcella, the antagonist, and see a soft side of her when she actually finally got to see Marco at the offshore, and she was like, come with me, it's gonna be a better life, like, don't stay here. And Marco just like, nah, I'm staying here, my son's better off without me, like, there's nothing for me in inland, I'm not going back to that life. I will say, even though I don't like her character, I'm not fond of her character, I did feel bad for her as a mother. I also really found it interesting how when inland became the last resort and everybody basically had to go back, there were characters who were just like, I'm not going back there, and all those superior, like, I'm too superior, this is where I belong, this is where I'm staying at the offshore. They were all just like, we're not going back to the inland, either because they were already there, or they're just like, it's a no for me. I mean, think about the grandfather. I viewed it as he didn't want to go back to poverty. He was like, I've already lived this great, luxurious life, I'd rather die. Even though it means that I could still live my life and start over and just live equally as everyone else, because we're all going to be living in the same condition. He was like, hell no, I'd rather die. I'd rather die than to live like that. Even if it meant him being alive, none of that mattered. Even if it meant they were all equal, they could start over, everyone was living the same lives and they could start something new. He was like, no, thank you. It makes you question, like, if people who do live certain lifestyles that are highly ranked as opposed to others, would they really be willing to give that up? Would they really be willing to, just for things to be fair and equal? I was bummed that we never found out who Joanna's parents were, that we were kind of falsely led by that lady. We were falsely happy for a moment because we were thinking, oh, this might be her mom, she looks exactly like her, they have the same hairstyle. But it still was a good show, even though I don't really know how I felt about the ending, especially when it first went off. I just was like, because it ended like super abruptly, and there were only like 7 episodes. But I do like that, of course, there has to be a game in this because it's 3%. This show wouldn't be 3% if they didn't have the whole game playing thing at the end, which I thought was funny because they all wanted to be equal. I found it really interesting because, you know, they all wanted to be equal, but at the same time, they still had to play a game in order to come to the equal ground of it all. So no matter what, they still had to play these games, just to kind of break the cycle. But the show definitely did good with making the audience feel super paranoid. I felt just like Raphael, but I felt like Raphael in a sense of, I felt like I couldn't trust any of the characters. I was like, they're all sus. What if one of them betrays the other one? This person seems like they're about to do something. This person seems like they're about to do something. Like, they really did build on that a lot. The show did it on a positive note. It ended about unity and equality. Give everyone a voice. But I would have liked to see maybe in episode 8 where we could have seen how the place looked after they fix it up, and how they went about getting everyone a voice, and how Joanna went about getting everyone a voice and showing how everything really came together. But overall, good show as always. I definitely recommend it. So lastly, did you guys see the sun? They showed a little glimpse of the sun. The sun with the glasses. So it was kind of cool to see him for a little glimpse. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment below, let me know what are your thoughts about this show, and be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell button to get notified for future videos, and I will see you all next time. Before you go, be sure to get you a copy of my book and hit this link to get attached to my email list, or you can hit the link in the description box below for my website where you can actually go purchase a copy of this book. Psychological thriller about a group of adults in a psych ward who get this new counselor who is trying to help them, but he learns that these kids aren't just mentally ill, they have some sort of abilities, and that this place is haunted and they're being tortured and harmed, and that everything has cause and effect. So I've been reading this, and if you're interested in hearing it from the very beginning, you can go check out the Netflix French show called Mortel, and at the end of that video, that's where I started to read this from the beginning, and I am actually on the last couple pages, so let's finish this. Lastly, we stopped Sam. She died, and John is like, Sam, Samantha, Sam. A low cry escapes me. Bang. A shock runs through my body, knowing what has happened, before looking at Joseph lie on the blood-stained carpet. It swims over Tommy's unconscious body like an ocean wave. Disturbed from this entire experience, I get up robotically like a zombie, exiting the scene of the crime. I step into the hall. Orko? There he stands next to Teo. Leave, John. Go. Her voice reminds me. Teo pours gasoline everywhere. We exit the building silently, lighting a match. I'm sorry, Sam. I murmur to myself. The match is tossed, causing the building to go up in flames. We watch, holding hands, hearing piercing sounds holler within the smoke. Let's go, I command. We walk home to the hotel. You guys can shower. I'm going to take a quick nap. I lay down in the bed, closing my eyes. I sink into a web of the subconscious mind. So, they all get out. So basically everybody dies, but John, he gets out and he takes his brother and he takes Teo, the other army guy, with him to his hotel after they set the place on fire. He falls asleep and he goes into a dream. Hey, John. Kale runs up to me full of joy. Come on before we're late, she hurries. Late for what? She pulls my arm, dragging me through a hallway. The walls are covered with child dinosaur art and a cat-eyed woman. The air is damp, cool, and eerie. No. 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 I shake in disbelief. There's no way I'm back here. Of all the places to dream about, this is the place? I burned it down. I'm dreaming, right? I just have to wake up. I'm in the hotel with Teo and my brother Orko. I close my eyes. It's just a bad dream. Please, come on, wake up, John. This isn't real. This isn't real. John, are you okay? Kale, I whisper as we walk into a dark room. The same room with the light. What is going on? Why are you in my dream? Why am I here? Huh? What do you mean, silly? We come here almost every day of the week. Come sit, she reassures. No, I can't. I gotta get out of here. I relieve myself from the area, heading to the exit. And one day the sun will come out to play. And one day your endless days will leave astray. And one day there will be no pain, no sadness, not a damn thing. Because life is easier that way. I know you calling me. I hear you calling me. Come back, come back, come back, come back. The hairs on my arms erect. My heart skips a beat. My eyes fill with water and smile conceals me. And that is the end. So basically, in the end, John Smith ends up back in the place because Sam told him, do not take your brother out of the place or you're going to end up in here forever. You're going to end up in a cycle. And he thinks that he's in a dream, and it hasn't been confirmed if he's in a dream or not, but basically he ended up back in the same place where he started. But he hears that song. Remember, Joseph's little brother sang that song. So it's basically a cliffhanger at the end. Overall, yeah, that's the end of the story. And of course there will be a part 2, a sequel. I haven't been working on writing a part 2 to that, but that is one of the books in the mini series to come. I'm more so working on short stories right now, short horror.